With the conflict between Israel and Iran, is this a time to buy or a time to sell? In this video, I'll touch on 4 things. Number 1, how may Iran continue to respond? Number 2, where could we see oil prices go from here? Number 3, how is the finance industry responding? And number 4, how am I responding? What actions am I taking? If you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Tepper, and I'm the founder and CEO of Tykr. If you're new to investing or want to get better at investing, rest assured you're in the right place. Here at Tykr, we help people buy and sell stocks with confidence. The first point, how will Iran continue to respond? So I found an article from the BBC, and one of their security correspondents mentioned there are 3 responses we could see. One of them we already did see, which is a fast response from Iran. They attacked a US base in Qatar. There's the second option, which is Iran could build up forces with a bigger arsenal or bigger army at a later date. I'm paying close attention to that. Number 3, option 3, is they could simply do nothing. So we saw the first one play out already, but it's the second one, a bigger retaliation later, is what I'm paying closest attention to. Not saying it will happen, but I'm just listening to a lot of BBC to really understand what's going on at the global level, and they do focus a lot on the Middle East. All right, second point, where could oil prices go from here? So I found an article from CNN. They were actually talking about how 20% of the global oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran has strong control over that. It's 20 million barrels per day. Now, if they were to slow that down or shut it down, yes, they're going to cut off oil supply to the US and a lot of our allies. However, China gets a lot of the oil through that supply chain process through the Strait of Hormuz. So if Iran were to slow things down, they're going to slow things down for one of their allies, that being China. So we have to keep that in mind. So could oil prices increase? Maybe, but maybe not. All right, number 3, how's the finance industry responding? So we have a lot to talk about here. First point is from CNBC, talks about Deutsche Bank is doubling down on defense investments. They're looking at investing about 800 billion euros into some of the countries in the EU to really ramp up their defense. This could be on physical things as well as a lot of software tech. It's really everything over the board. All right, there's another article here I found from money.us news, talks about top defense stocks at this moment. A few of the stocks mentioned include Axon Enterprise, ticker symbol AXON. Just to give you some of the numbers here in Tykr and how they relate to what this article is talking about, they do kind of align. So get this, Axon is really well rated in Tykr. They are on sale. The score is 83, margin of safety 80%, 4M of 77. If you can get close to 80 there, that's pretty good. And the share prices, get this, up 700% over the last 5 years. For context, the S&P 500 typically returns about 80, maybe 90% over 5 years. So it's outpacing the market by a long shot. Another stock here is Howmet Aerospace, ticker symbol HWM. Also well rated, on sale stock, score of 83 as well, margin of safety of 80%, 4M of 88, and share prices up over 1,000% over the last 5 years. And then, of course, another usual suspect, Palantir, ticker symbol PLTR, on sale, score of 83, margin of safety of 75%, 4M of 71, the share price is up 1,300% over the last 5 years. So those are just a few of the defense stocks that are being mentioned and talked about that are actually pretty well rated in Tykr. Of course, not a buy or sell recommendation. All right, moving on. This is interesting. So Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley are talking about increasing their dividend. With all the uncertainty, the conflict, a lot of tensions around the world, they're looking at increasing dividends. When businesses announce that, that's typically a really good sign on those businesses, but we have to think about, these are large banks. If they're increasing their dividends, that means they and the lending industry, they're doing a little healthier than they were a few years ago. Of course, 2022 was a recession, really started in November of 21 and went through into the beginning of 23. So it was a pretty long long period there. Well, we're coming out of that. Things are looking a lot better. Inflation is at about 2.35%. If you can get between 2 and 3%, that's usually pretty good. So the fact that they are talking about increasing dividends, that's a pretty good sign. All right, let's talk a little bit about the private market, mergers and acquisitions. So uncertainty is the new norm. I've got some friends that work in the investment banking industry as well as mergers and acquisitions. And when you have uncertain times like this, a lot of businesses are apprehensive about one, going public, two, about making large investments. We're talking tens or hundreds of millions of dollars into private businesses. So a lot of these types of businesses, they'll sit. Well, this whole uncertainty thing is the new norm, as they're talking about. Now, just to give you the stats here, deal volume is down about 9% over the last year, but the amount of deals that are $1 billion or greater are up 19% over the last year. Says that there's a lot less mergers and acquisitions happening, but the size of the deals are up almost 20%. So what that tells us is, regardless of the conflicts around the world, there's still a ton of businesses that are growing extremely fast to over 1 billion valuation. So that's a good sign. Then I found an article from Yahoo Finance. This is a quote from Ritholtz Wealth Management, stated that often geopolitical conflict has little to no effect on the US economy. And I actually put together an article talking about this about 2 years ago, giving a history over the last 100 years on how long the market goes down and how long it takes to recover. And as you can see my screen here, you can actually go to Education, Investing Blog, and then on the second page, or you can actually search for this too, but the second page, there's an article titled Geopolitical Events. You could literally just go to the search bar here and type in geopolitical. But what this does is shows you the history, really working from the present to as far back as I could do my homework, which was about 100 years. Really went back to World War II. But to give you context, check this out. Russia attacks Ukraine. Days to the bottom, it went down about 17 days, and then days to recover is about 16 days. So it's down about a month. We keep going back in time. Let's go back to U.S. terrorist attacks. This was 9/11. Days to the bottom, 11 days. Days to recover, about 31 days. So just 42 days or so. So just over a month there. You touch on something here like the Reagan shooting. That was 1 day down, 2 days back up. Kennedy assassination, check this out. 1 day down, 1 day back up. It's crazy. The market sometimes does not have any empathy for human beings. It can be a little cold at times, but that's the way it is. Then we go back to Cuban Missile Crisis. This is before a lot of us were born. 1962. Look at this. Days to the bottom, 8 days, and then days to recover, 18 days. So really a reminder to kind of echo what this wealth management firm said is, when the market goes down, it doesn't go down for long. And I've got another article I do talk about. In fact, I'll show you it right now. Investing Blog. This is historical stock market crashes. Over the last 100 years, there have been 17 bear markets or recessions with an average duration of about 10 months. So whatever's happening in the market, it typically goes down quickly, but recovers quickly. This is very common. Of course, there's a few that have gone on longer, but that's a really good perspective that although tensions like this, yes, they're definitely something we have to pay attention to. It is scary. I admit, even myself, I'm watching or listening to the BBC podcast every day to hear what's going on in the Middle East. But at the same time, I'm keeping this in perspective that when the market goes down, it does not go down for long. So what am I doing at this point? I am still buying stocks. I have a newsletter that goes out every week called Weekly Trade Ideas. And what that does is it actually shows what I'm buying or selling every week. And I'm still buying right now. But at the same time, I'm also starting to set some capital aside. If there's talks about I'm thinking about Trump and the tariff war negotiations that really pulled the market down. That might be a stockpiling opportunity that could pull the market down a bit. That's an opportunity to buy more. There's also talks of other countries that they get involved in the conflict with or against Israel. That could cause some volatility in the market as well. Again, another opportunity where I'm going to take that cash set aside and deploy it. So overall, hopefully this was helpful, gives you perspective of what's going on in the industry, what other financial institutions are doing, and then of course, give you some transparency in what I'm doing. All right, if you want to know what stocks to buy and sell and even see my portfolio, I welcome you to join Tykr for free. And of course, do not buy or sell stocks based solely on what you hear. Only buy and sell stocks that align with your own personal financial goals. Thanks for checking out this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.